And we're here for another episode of the Pelican Sports Report, and we've got a great friend of Central Louisiana. Man, it's had a busy last few hours. Head coach Larry, or assistant coach Larry Cordaro is head coach of LSUA. You remember him from here, Coach. First of all, congratulations, you and Troy going dancing.
Yes, sir, we are. It's a dream come true. We're here in the moment, soaking it all in, preparing right now.
Look, it had to be a little bit easier at the watch party because you guys were Sun Belt's conference champions, tournament champions. So you're in, you're in. So you're not sitting there waiting, but it's just, man, where we go, where are we going to fall on here? Take me through that a little bit.
It was reassuring to know that you're in. You won the conference tournament, but you're thinking like, wow, some of those teams that are on the bubble, like we had about 4 times where we were like, that's where we're going, that's where we're going. And it was some other team. And so we finally got, I believe it was the third bracket, if you will, the 16 teams of we finally got our name called, and we're playing Kentucky. And we were at Baumhauer's, which is like a walk-ons here in Alabama right here. And we had unbelievable turnout, our fan support. I mean, you couldn't fit any more people in there. And we haven't been to the NCAA dance since 2017, and we're fired up here in 2025 to go and represent Troy in the Sun Belt Conference.
For those folks that are just joining us, we're here with Troy assistant basketball coach. A message popped up. Larry Cordaro joins us here and just found out where you're going tonight. We invite you to send your messages along. You can see them pop up too, and we'll see if we can put these. Look at that. KP Miles says, good to see you, Coach. Good luck in the tournament.
Appreciate it. We've got good health going on in our program. We're healthy, and we're excited to prepare for the Kentucky Wildcats. You don't have to just deal with their team, but they're the Big Blue Nation, and it's going to be loud in there. It's going to be, no empty seats. They're going to be about 80-90% Big Blue but we'll be locked in. We got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice. We'll leave. We'll fly up there. We'll have 2 days before we play on Friday night at 6:00.
That's right. So you didn't have to get out and look. Was there ever a chance, and I wouldn't think so, we were talking about this in one of the shows, that you might have been one of those play-in games, or as the tournament champion, were you in?
Yeah, I think our net was high enough. We're one of the top 100 teams in the NCAA overall. So normally that's for some lower conferences. Right. A team right up the road, Montgomery, Alabama State, got a play-in game. And actually the Texas Longhorns, they were on the bubble. They actually have a play-in game, but I haven't looked too much at the bracket. I barely even know who we play on Sunday once we take care of Kentucky, if we're able to do that.
So funny you should say that. Let me see where it went. See, I'm producing on my own tonight, but let's see if this works.
I think Illinois, Texas, or Xavier winner. That's right.
Yep. So you got that. So you're there against Kentucky, and when you take care of that, and what was it, 12, 13 SEC teams that got in? It's just
14.
14. That's crazy. I think the only one that didn't get in was LSU.
LSU and South Carolina.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Wow. And they're going to make a run in girls action. So what do you do? But when you're sitting there and you're preparing, you guys, it was your battle all year long. And let's talk a little bit about the season before we get into the dance, because we want to do that. But your battles with Arkansas State this year, just back and forth, that conference was, you had 5 teams that were up there. Any one of them could have won the conference.
Correct. Before conference, though, we had the Razorbacks, we had the Oregon Ducks, played the Houston Cougars, all on the road. And those, top-notch programs prepared us to get ready for opening up here with Georgia State. We beat them at home in the Sun Belt opener, and then we went on the road and we won at App State and at Marshall. And then, we took off from there, and we dropped a few games like the Raging Cajuns. We took care of them on the road, but they came here, and it's just the nature of it. We lost that game literally at the end of the game, and we would have won it outright. But it was a 4-way tie between South Alabama, James Madison, us, and Arkansas State. And they were really the most talented team. Arkansas State, we were able to go on the road to their place after we dropped a game at home here. We went there and beat them on ESPN2 by 1. And, that was a game I think that really, since then, our record's probably maybe 1 loss.
Right, that's correct.
And that 1 loss might be to ULL. Kentrell Garnett made a Steph Curry fadeaway shot literally with about 40 seconds in the game, 4 on the shot clock, and we gave a double-digit lead away. But, we're on a really hot winning streak. Our guys are performing at a high level. The coaching staff has our guys prepared to the utmost, and I'm excited that the game's Friday. It gives us an extra day of prep. When the Troy Trojans get preparation time, we've been good when it comes to scouting and strategy and schemes, and so we'll get 3 good days of prep before we fly up to Milwaukee.
Look, let's go back now to the conference championship tournament, because your conference champion doesn't get the automatic bid, right? The tournament champion gets the bid. So it doesn't matter if you go undefeated all the way. If you don't win that conference tournament, you're sitting there waiting for one. Is that right?
And I'm not sure. I thought about this a couple months ago, maybe some years ago too, but would you ever reward the regular season winner? And I guess that would take away from all the March Madness of the tournaments.
Right.
That's what makes it so. But, anybody can, not anybody, but, you would think 18-game season would take precedence over a 3-4 day tournament. But that's just what the March Madness has been. And we were able to really take the undisputed is one of the words our guys was talking about. Like it's a 4-way tie, and we ended up getting the 3 seeds. We got a bye, not 2 byes like we were hoping to maybe get, but sometimes playing that first game, which was against Old Dominion, we weren't expecting them. They were a Cinderella in the Sun Belt tournament.
Right.
We took care of them, and then the next day we played James Madison, who'd been sitting, and they hadn't played anybody. So that happened to us last year. We were on the flip side of that. We got the byes. And Texas State upset us. And, sometimes playing that game can get you some momentum, some feel on the floor. But, our guys took care of it Saturday, Sunday, and then on ESPN2, I believe it was on Monday this past week at 6 o'clock, we were down 8 with about 8 to go to Arkansas State. And boy, are they talented. And our guys just, put on their refuse to lose caps. And we ended up winning by 13, Doug.
Look, and you took it out of the committee's hands, because as long as you got some people that are sitting around in a big office that they bring in from all over the country to talk about stuff a lot of them don't know about, man, you just take it out of anybody's hands there, and you just left no doubt.
Our guys deserve it. Our coaching staff deserves it. Coach Cross, his resume, this is not his first NCAA tournament experience. Greg Young, I could name all of our coaches on our staff and our support staff, or just the overall program here at Troy. I mean, it's when I left Alexandria, I was able to choose, and here I am, and I knew the caliber program that Coach Cross had built, and it took the first 2 years of COVID and coming into a situation, but the next 4. He's won 20 plus 4 years in a row, and that's never been done in Troy history. I don't think 3 had ever been done till last year. And so, some consistency here that we've got going.
And I don't want to be a stat rat, but he's already tied at 103 wins, I think, for 3rd on the list there. So he's doing big things.
Yeah, I want to say there was a 100th win in there, and I didn't even know. I know he got his 300th win overall last year at Georgia State.
But 103 there
there
at Troy.
There was a 100th win, and it might have been on Senior Day. Now that I think about it, no, it was at Southern Miss. We were on the road in Hattiesburg on a Friday night, and we had to win. And we went into the locker room, and we saw where James Madison had to lose, and Texas State did us a favor and beat them, I think, in an overtime or 2. And that created the 4-way tie, and that was my boss's 100th Sun Belt win.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, really cool.
All right, so let's go in there now, and before we get to that, I want to put up a couple of pictures too. Okay, this one specifically, and it was sent to me from our buddy KP there. So I'm going to put it, and tell me about that. Look at the smile.
Man, that's all joy right there. That's fun. We just left the president's house, our chancellor on campus, and unbelievable man and his wife, and I mean they've been here 35 plus years. Right. And he retired, and then we're not going to let him retire. He really unretired. And but he was talking about playing with fun. Fun. He's mentioned those 3 letters, and that's what it's all about. Be relaxed, go out there and play the Kentucky Wildcats, play our game, and we've got a lot of people behind us that are cheering us on. And why not Troy? It happens. Like we showed our team, the lower seeds have won different games throughout the recent years. I mean, you look at Kentucky. I want to say last year Oakland beat Kentucky. Same seeding situation. So, but
you look around. you look around at those, and now it's not uncommon. There's so much parity in basketball that even the 16 now finally beat the one a couple of years ago. You see 15s and 2s and 14. I mean, you see that all the time. It's not that out of the ordinary.
We hope to be that one and just take it, one game at a time. It's 40 minutes, and these guys need to just enjoy the moment and just go out there and be themselves. We got some really talented players. We've got the MVP of the Sun Belt. I mean, we've got the freshman of the year who's back this year as a sophomore. You just go on and on and on. Really a tough, talented team that we've got.
I want to show you one more picture too. And you talked about fun. Tell me a little. Show me what's going on there.
Well, my mother and father, they were able to see all 3 games, and I was talking to them in the stands. And I was at LSU in 2004 as a grad assistant. We went to the NCAA tournament, but we didn't win the SEC tournament. We just got in because we were an at-large team. And
right.
But something like that, I don't recall ever. I wasn't thinking. I missed the picture, to be honest with you. If you go back and you look at all the confetti coming down, that picture I'm in.
Right.
There's half the pictures I'm not in that picture. So I literally, somebody's got it on video. I have to show you one day, Doug. Like it's a blue. I literally run and I jump and I'm like, hold on, because I'm talking to my mom and my dad and hugging them and thanking them for being there. And so everything just happened so fast. And hopefully we get to do this again, and I'll know next time to be right there on stage from the jump. But it's neat that I did make some of those pictures, and just to be surrounded by all that joy and all that love. It's lifelong memories that I'll forever have and be proud of.
All right, now that's over with. And to our listeners that are out, to our viewers that are out there, if you've got a question, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're at, and you've got a question for Coach Cordaro, comment, go ahead and just type it in right there. It'll pop up on here, and we'll answer that, or we'll pass that along to him too. Again, we had one from our buddy KP there. We told you that. Good to see you, Coach. He remembers that golf tournament that you were in. It was in here, and the first tee box was dedicated to you because you had just got your first tee.
I hadn't gotten one since. That's right. I hadn't gotten one since. But
all right, so the Sun Belt Conference tournament, all of that's over with. You guys turn around, and now you're going up there. Your name was announced. You're playing Kentucky, and you look at it, and anybody that may not know the program sits around and says, "Oh, well, check Kentucky and all that." But in the words of the great basketball guy, not so fast. Troy is, what are they, top 25 in about 7 categories?
Or top 5 in the country in offensive rebounding.
Yeah,
we're high up there in steals.
Scoring defense is there. You guys are giving up about 64 points a game on there, which is so solid. So if you look and scatter throughout some categories, you're a top 25 team in a number of categories.
Yeah, our categories that we focus on each game are going to be field goal percentage, defense. We want to keep them at 40 or below. We want to win the free throw margin. We want to win the rebound margin, the turnover margin, and then we keep something called hustle points, and that's a whole separate entity in itself. Our student manager keeps that on the sideline. But normally the team that wins those 5 categories is which we keep a board in the locker room for each game where we are in the green or the red. And that's just kind of what it boils down to. And Coach Cross and the toughest team always wins, and that's our motto. And we just want to go out there and be the toughest team and dive on the floor and just have that grittiness that we have on and off the floor about us.
When we talked before, you talked about limiting the turnovers and trying to keep it under double digits. And you guys had went on a run of a few games of keeping it under double digits. What do you do to make sure that happens?
Well, again, our student managers, they do an unbelievable job. Our athletic director earlier today is like, how many managers do you guys need or have? And they pop balloons. So we do a good job of making sure that the guys see it, they hear it. If there's a turnover and a certain amount of balloons are popped, we're on the line and we're going to do some wind sprints. But just an emphasis that we've been talking about. If we want to be, the greatest that we can be this year to reach our peak, we've got to, value the basketball. It's like, in football, you can't just hand the ball to the other team and expect to win. So we've got to be able to value the basketball and credit our guys for have been doing that and being better with it.
All right, so another thing you and I talked about were the shirts. You get a shirt after every win. You've picked up a bunch of them in a row. What was the conference tournament championship shirt?
It was actually the best shirt all year long. It was a shirt we didn't have to go get. It was the Sun Belt Conference they gave us a shirt, so we used that. But we had some pretty cool shirts the 2 games before that in the tournament, and we've got some shirts we're gonna fly up to Milwaukee with. We'll take 2 shirts and hopefully we hand them all out, and we're not bringing them back for next year or anything like that. But coaches, that's his thing. He's a big believer in rewarding the guys and coming up with something catchy about our program, a phrase, and we've got them all on the locker room wall, all neatly packaged in there and placed. Right. And so, yeah, it's a win shirt, and that's just something that part of our culture. And Troy definitely has culture. It's been an experience. Man, I'm a much better person, coach for these now almost going on 22 months that I've been here. So just learned so much from being a part of this staff, and excited to be able to help these guys in every way I can to continue.
One of the things that is your job is also operations, and Coach Cross and everybody's doing their thing on this too. What does it look like now that you've got to get airlines and hotels and travel and all of that?
Well, we've got an unbelievable administration. When it becomes almost too big for my plate, to be honest with you, they're like, he's got this, she's got that, all these different things, these buses and flights, and we've got an unbelievable student assistant and an assistant operations guy that helps. Those guys are in the office right now as we speak. But our athletic department, they've stepped up, and we're going to take the band and the cheer, and so they're really taking a lot from us and let us be able to focus on what we need to focus on to win this basketball game, is our players and scouting and just taking care of the our nuts and bolts that we've got going on. So I want to say thank you to our administration for taking a lot of that from us and helping us with getting to Milwaukee in a short amount of time. The NCAA, we've got an important meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'll be a part of that, and we'll just go from there.
What does Coach Cross do? Because I know his emphasis has got to be getting ready for the Wildcats.
Correct. I asked him today, I said, how many interviews, getting ready to talk with you, Doug. Thanks for having us on air live right now. But he's probably done 10 or 15 since we won Monday night. It's been, just really managing this. And this is what our players are going to have to do. It's pretty neat that this picture showed up. And it's a picture of the Champions Luncheon from last Final Four in.
Hang on, show that again now that we've got the camera put back
Phoenix. Up. Well, I wasn't planning on showing you or anybody this, but basically it's a luncheon where all the champions get invited to.
Right.
And last year, we were the 3rd seed, and we had a good season. I think we ended up opting out of playing some postseason. They got these different tournaments. Just if it wasn't the NCAA, we weren't going to do it at that point. But so I had that as just a motivation deal that I wanted our staff, myself, I wanted to be in that room. That was 11 months ago. Took that picture and had it on there, and here we are. We cut down, 2 nets. We cut down some nets in the Trojan Arena here for winning the regular season, and then down in Pensacola for the conference tournament. So our guys have earned the right to send the coaches, and for everything that they're going to get for this really comes down to our student athletes for getting up. We're an early morning program, 7, 8 a.m. in the film room, doing the ladder drill, first thing, diving on the floor for loose balls. Like, we roll our sleeves up and we get after it. And, we're going to lift weights, if not once a day, twice a day. But that's the mentality that we may not be the most talented team, though we do have some pretty talented players, but we're going to like the team aspect, the team component, the toughest part. That's, credit Coach Cross for what he's built here.
Do you have the record for most twins on a team in the tournament?
Yeah, we do have 2 Rigsby brothers. They both start.
Right.
And we've got 2 Campbell brothers. One's redshirt and he had an injury. And his baby brother, the freshman, plays some key minutes. I think he was in the championship game, maybe the last 7, 8 minutes of the game. So
when it was crunch time.
Yep. So we've got those 2. And Coach Cross's son is actually on the team. So, it's definitely a family vibe here.
Look, that's great. So you had a message in from Jonathan Kirk. He says, man, oh man, Larry, where do I even begin? From the time I first met you until now, it's been absurd seeing your growth. Best of luck to you, Coach. Just remember when you coached at LSU, just crazy. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kirk. The journey is the reward. Just still on it, and happen to be on an NCAA tournament team, and just trying to do my part and soak it all up and just enjoy it, because it's been 20 years for me since I was at LSU with John Brady and staff, and it's not easy to get to a Sun Belt, any conference championship. When you're at that level, you have to win the tournament, as we talked about. And for us to have done that, it's special for these guys. It's just, they'll have, a championship ring and these memories that'll last a lifetime.
Your deep run in Kansas City a few years back with LSUA, what kind of what can you bring to this team that says, hey, look, here's the deal. We went in our pod. We talked about the bracket that was up there. Let me get that back up. You look at it and you want to win your pod, which is Kentucky, and then the winner of the Illinois Texas Evidence. So is that the approach that you have on it? Just let's focus on 4 teams and not 68.
Well, to be honest, right now, Doug, it's one team, and I did have a NEI experience from Kansas City, and it's awesome to see the Generals going back this year. Wish them nothing but good health, and hopefully they can bring it all the way home. But that Pensacola tournament just brought me memory, like it was that type of environment. And that's what it'll be, that and some more in Milwaukee. But yes, I'm able to relate to these guys, communicate with them, and talk to them about what it's like to play in the Fab Four for a national championship, those games that, so much is on the line, and what to do and how to prepare for and how to stay focused and just keep your mind on what's between the lines.
Well, Coach, I know basketball is super important to you, but your faith is as well. I did some research into, you've started doing a devotional on your page lately. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's special.
Yeah, it is. It's the Heart of a Coach FCA playbook. I've had it. I got it from Central Louisiana, FCA actually, and it's one of those things that you just come across and you open it up and you kind of remember, you got a lot of different things going on. It's small, it's simple, but it really hit me, and I was like, man, this is some powerful, stuff. I read it like 1 month back in October, November, and I'm gonna do it again. Then I was like, I need to share this to some people and some coaches, and so my first thought was do it all in January. I'm glad it's been impossible to do 30 straight days. But so just one day out of each month, I'm picking those 30 days. So I get through December. Hopefully I've covered them all. It's just a minute or two, words of wisdom, a nugget of scriptures, or something that I can talk about, what's God, what they've done in their stories. I'm actually just kind of reciting it and repeating it. It's something like, what's so cool is the head coach at Troy here on the women's side. And I looked in the book, she actually wrote one of those devos. I believe it's like the 31st. I'm going to have her whenever that time comes. They're actually playing in postseason too.
Right.
And, great program to work alongside. She's from Louisiana. And so I'm going to have Coach get on there and do one of those devos. And so, yeah, it's just a way to, keep the main thing, and to, we post a lot of pictures of basketball and families and stuff. But at the end of the day, we went to team church today at 11:30 on campus here, and that's our whole program was there. And we do that probably once every 2 months. And so, we're definitely a program of faith. We've got a character coach named Pastor Randy who does a life lesson every game that we play. And he's very powerful and important for us. And so, yeah, it's definitely, and it goes back to October. We were at Coach's house, and I don't know if I shared this with you when we talked a couple months back about how, we had 4 or 5 players get baptized in Coach's pool. And so that, we were talking on the bus a couple weeks ago, was that really the start of, something special, just something that was like in the works being planned, just we didn't even see it coming, but God's, working through Troy basketball right now, and we just hope to be his vessel.
Coach Josh Brown of Grace Christian chimed in, and we talked about it on his show tonight. He's got Troy by 10 in round 1.
Wow, man! Hey, high score wins. The Trojans will take that, and well, that'd be awesome. Somebody's going to win a lower seed, and we hope it's us, and we just want to go out there and play the type of ball that we're capable of playing, and not let the moment kind of take over us, if you will, but just kind of just put the blinders on and just play one possession at a time. And I really do believe that you're going to see a really good performance from Troy. So, hey, Coach Brown, appreciate that, putting that in the atmosphere. And that's what we've also been talking about is just, I think Chancellor's wife tonight was talking about it. She was referring to some Bible passages about, being positive and speaking into an existence and believing. And so that's what you have to do. And that's kind of what we've been, showing our guys videos and past experience from other teams and coaches on our staff speaking about what it was like when they played in the NCAA tournament. And just, you got to be able to visualize it, to to see it, that something that you want to go out there and you actually want to attain and get.
Coach, let me ask you this, and I'll wrap up because I know you got a lot of stuff to do. Do you get to fill out a bracket, and how cool is that you're in there? And how far do you take Troy out in this?
Doug, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I've got to do a bracket. Well,
we've got a 446 Sportsman on our Facebook page. Hop in there and get on that one too.
Well, the NCAA, I don't know. I better be careful what I do or not do.
Right.
Everything, we're gonna have our sleeves rolled up, and we're gonna get to work and enjoy this week, and roll the ball out there and see what happens, and play the Kentucky Wildcats. I mean, one of the most historical programs in all of college basketball history, and that's who we get, one of the big blue bloods.
Look, why not go out and play that? I mean, that's what you want in this time of the year.
I had a buddy text me on Tuesday, Justin from Baton Rouge. He and I were managers at LSU. He texted me on Tuesday saying we were going to play Kentucky as the 3 seed. He said, watch the SEC tournament. And we were going to play somebody in that mix. There's so many teams from the SEC. He was right. Watch the SEC tournament, and you'll probably play one of those guys.
Right.
Hopefully it's Kentucky, and maybe it's Texas right in the second round.
Wouldn't that be something? Look, we're excited about it, Coach. I know you've got so much to do. We're cheering loudly from Central Louisiana. There is no doubt about that. We're excited for you and going to follow along with it this way. Look, if Troy doesn't get out of the first round, my bracket's busted because I've got you going deep. So,
thanks for the support. You're loyal, Doug.
Look, 100%.
Good 100%. To see you.
Hey, got everybody working on. Got a shirt we're working on. It says we're taking the stairs to the big dance.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to take the stairs, no matter how high those hotel stories go in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Coach Cross and company, better believe it, we're going to be taking those stairs.
Well, we'll be watching Friday. Coach, thank you so much.
Yeah, good health to everybody.
There you go.
Thank you. All right.